I mean, I don't know. What do you got that's like sexy? What do you have that's, you know, like a sexy sax kind of just make it up as you go?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you got? Let's hear it. Oh, yeah. I'm going to take this podcast. I'm going to put it all the way in your ear holes. Because don't laugh, you got to keep playing, man. let me try it again. Oh, my. Gonna take this whole podcast, gonna put it in that hole in your head, you know, the one called an ear. I don't know if this is working, but have a seat and talk to me.
Okay.
That
was fun.
I think that's changed the entire podcast nation. I think that's going to be the new, and everyone's going to be trying to replicate that now.
Yes.
And everyone's going to want the sexy sax intro talking about ear holes. It's going to become a thing.
Did you ever see that SNL bit?
Which
with,
one?
They had like a music video, and it was about it's about the holes in your clothes. I'm gonna stick these arms into my shirt holes and whatever. It was about the holes in your body and the holes in your shirts.
You know what I like? I love
really fun
trying to open up like the audio show with a lot of visual.
Open up the holes.
Yeah, with
of
a
the
lot
audio.
of visual references. Tell the people who you are, sir.
Well, my name's Josh Hetwer.
Come on with it. So, and that was him. That was this guy.
Yeah, live and in color.
I mean, just like that. Folks, how you doing? You are listening to a chatter. In fact, again, these are not interviews. They're conversations.
They're not interviews?
Not at all.
Oh.
You're not even going to be remotely interviewed here. Just. However, tell the fine people who you play with. Well, your touring group. 'Cause
Yeah,
you're with
I play with a bunch of
17
people,
yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
But quite frequently, I go out on the road with the Cherry Poppin' Daddies.
I mean, seriously.
I have a good time.
So, folks, you're gonna get a little taste of that life and just the life of a working musician and just a cut up, because this dude, you've become one of my dearest friends, and I don't know how long have we known each other. Has it been 5 months? I'm not sure.
Well, we did. My very first Chicago gig was a Final Say gig.
That was with me.
That was with you.
Yeah, you were very kind.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know you, and it was one of those gigs where there were so many moving parts, I couldn't even think twice about anybody who was on stage with me. And then at the end, you out of nowhere, you just came out, which no new player does anymore, and you came up and you're like, "Hey, I just moved to the city. This is my sure hope I make it."
Pulled my suspenders back.
Yeah. No, but you and you had your suitcase with all the towns you'd visited on the way. No, you came up and you said very nice things and you shook my hand.
Yeah,
It was very cool.
It was fun, and I think I mentioned this to you before, but back where I'm from, we just don't do weddings like that. You know, like you got your MC game down real nice.
Oh, thanks.
You treat the clients well, and it's a treat to watch.
It was a warming experience, and then I didn't see you. The next time I really saw you was
months.
Hawaii.
Yeah, it was months. I think.
Months later.
Yeah.
So Josh and I worked in Hawaii on this big gig, and at some point when we get out to Hawaii, sometimes it can be a little stressful. I had a couple more shows than you, so I think I had a little more on my plate. You were able to.
Yeah. You had to be witty for 5 minutes.
I had to be. Yeah. I got thrown this last minute MC gig where they were telling me, "Hey, improv, but script it too," and that was something, and it was great, but it was something. But anyway, I had a whole bunch on my plate, so it was a stressful gig, and I kept saying the same weird phrase over and over again, like, "Oh man, I can't wait to get out of Hawaii so I can relax," which makes no sense at all. But you were there, and I can't remember what gig we had, but the schedule out there, folks, is like kind of nuts because we're doing the rehearsal thing and the sound check thing, and then if we went out there for a specialty show, so I'm singing like a ton of songs that I've never done before, and I had to memorize a whole bunch of last minute lyrics. It was stressful, but I can't remember if it was after a sound check. You and I,
we had a break.
We took the stroll.
Some
people took a car. Some people did other things. They stayed on site. You and I were two of the only people that decided to walk back to the hotel.
Had to get out of there.
Get out of there. And I
hate Hawaii.
It's so stressful. I mean, the thing about Hawaii that I hate is just go, 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 go.
Ah, God.
Oh,
Don't they take a break out there?
You and I start walking toward our resort, and then right off the bat, good chat.
Good chat.
And then I feel like, well, let me, I felt like the elder statesman, like, let me buy the kid a drink, make sure he feels at home.
He can't afford one of these island beverages.
He can't afford.
Look at him.
Not out here. And we sit down, and then I don't remember the name of the drink you ordered. If you remembered the name, I would be so impressed.
Me too.
Okay. So we order a drink, and Josh's comes with like a back scratcher. It's a giant back scratcher sticking out of the drink. Do you still have said back scratcher?
I do. Yeah.
That might be, like our 10-year friend anniversary. We have to do something. You have to bring that.
We'll plate it in gold and turn it into a trophy.
That's a good idea. Why don't we cut it in half and make necklaces out of it?
Should we cut it hot dog style or hamburger style?
Wait, what? I don't know what that means. What are you talking about?
Like, should we cut it long ways or short ways?
Oh, okay. Hot dog
because
style or hamburger style.
I feel like if we cut it hot dog style, long ways, we could still use it.
Man, do you see that? You're smart.
I'm all about
usage.
That. Yeah, usage.
So anyway, there you go. Now you've been forced to listen to how we became friends, because in that like 2-hour break, having a drink, it just happened. There aren't many people, and you who can't relate to this. There aren't many people that you meet, and right away after spending some time, you realize like, oh, wait a minute, this is my jam. This is my jam. And I was having a run, as you were like thrust into it, but I was having a run where, you dealt with a lot of different personalities, and some became a little taxing, a little testing, a little tricky.
Sure.
And all of a sudden I meet you, and there was this breath of fresh air attached to you, and a back scratcher.
Must be a great actor.
So, is this the time that you turn into a big jerk now that Great.
Now I'm on the podcast.
It's over.
It's over.
He's going to start throwing puppies at old ladies just to show me how mean he is.
Start throwing old ladies at puppies.
Wow,
too.
that's mean. Yeah. That's even meaner. Well, anyway, so you grew up in Eugene, Oregon?
Well,
I
like to say I became a man in Eugene.
Right. Where did you?
I grew up in Salem, Oregon, which is about an hour and 15 minutes north of Eugene.
So
if you
then,
took the interstate.
How old were you when you went to Eugene?
I was 17.
Okay.
Just got into college, so I moved for college.
And playing the sax, when did that start? How old were you?
I guess I was 12.
It feels late in life for you to be this good.
Yeah, well, so I had a very musical background.
Oh, really?
I was playing lots of different stuff growing up.
Before 8th grade?
Yeah. Long before that. I started playing the clarinet in 4th grade.
All right.
In my mom's band, because she was my music teacher.
What?
At a little private school.
Oh, you were a ringer from the beginning.
I was a ringer, yeah.
Oh,
man. She called me up from the minor leagues.
Yeah. Wait, I don't think
I was in 4th grade.
Was aware of this. So
yeah, very musical family.
What was her instrument of choice?
She's a pianist.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a baby grand piano in the house.
Oh, geez.
As long as I lived.
Could you play the piano then as well?
A little bit. Like she taught piano lessons for a long time.
Yeah.
And I never let her teach me because that'd just get too weird, I think.
Why?
So, it's
sure. Mom, that whole thing?
Exactly.
Mom.
So I just, would dabble.
Yeah.
Just plunk some stuff out.
Was
Figure
it
some
not
stuff out eventually.
As cool to you because your mom was doing it in
Definitely.
a way? Okay.
Definitely.
So that's a real thing.
Oh, definitely.
It's weird because it's not like I'm some sort of world-renowned dude by no means, but, I'm in front of big crowds often, and the fact that my kid, who I love, who is so great, is just unimpressed with anything artistic about me. Now, she will say, like, you're one of my top 3 singers, and I'm up there, and she has a good, it's like Bruno Mars and Stevie, and I'm in there, so that's great.
Okay, so you don't only play your album around the house?
No, and I wish I could, because she doesn't know, like, all the words to any song. I have a niece who is just a diehard. It just
Wow,
yeah.
big Robbie fan.
Big Robbie. She knows everything I've ever done.
That's
I have
so
a
cute.
cousin as well, same thing. But
Love it.
the kid is just, And I think it has something to do with maybe
Just had enough of you already.
she was born into it. I think it has
Yeah.
something to, she sees, to her it's just normal. So if we're at some concert and she sees a bunch of people or people talking, taking pictures, whatever, I come
That's just
home.
my dad,
Yeah,
whatever.
I come home and it's no big deal.
Don't
In
talk
fact,
to me.
I think I've even like hummed something. It's like, oh wait, Dad, stop. And I'm like, people pay good money for this, boys. You're getting
That's
it for
right.
free.
That's right.
Like, that's an expensive phrase I just get. No, she doesn't care at all. But anyway,
Wow.
yeah, I know. It kind of keeps you grounded.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, my dad's a musician too.
Now, what did he do?
He's a band teacher. He teaches middle and high school, but he's also a professional. He plays French horn,
Wow.
and so he goes out to Portland all the time, and he plays in the Portland Opera, does organ ballet theater,
Oh,
orchestra.
wow.
He plays in all the Broadway shows that come through town.
Yeah.
and he's contracted to play those. So
Is that what kind of got you leaning toward the wind instrument? Because Dad?
yeah, I think so.
Because that was kind of cool.
Yeah, and band. Like the problem with piano and other instruments that aren't involved in big groups like that is that you don't get the opportunity to collaborate throughout school. You have like piano recitals and stuff where you can hear your friends and maybe do a duet with your teacher, but it's like, what are you? I mean, it's a lot harder.
So
it's
you
less
like
social.
being in the group like that?
Yeah, I did.
The section.
I did.
Oh, that is cool.
It's frustrating at times, like
Just personalities, or just I don't
like-
want to hear trombone right now.
trying to bring all these schmucks up to my level, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Cut to the crowd. He's
Yeah.
rather cocky. So all right. So then you go through the whole college thing, but then when does the career start professionally? Because you're in college, and then what happened? Did it start in college or?
My first professional gig was when I was 13. I played a production of Gypsy Rose Lee.
It was a paid gig?
Yeah,
What?
it was at a community theater, but they paid the orchestra.
What were you playing
I
then?
was playing clarinet.
How good was your clarinet playing
It
at
was good,
13?
Yeah, it was good.
I mean, it
was
had
solid.
to be.
There's a DVD of it somewhere at my folks' house.
I think you need to get that DVD and put
And not
up on
show it
YouTube.
to anybody.
So then, by 13, you're gigging.
Yeah, I got like $350 to play for
At
3 weeks.
13?
Yeah, it was like a 3-week run.
Screw you! My God, my first
crazy.
gig, I think I got hamburger tickets at a fest, and my second gig was like $50.
Yeah.
What?
Well, but this was, I mean, if you count the rehearsals and all the shows, that's not much.
Well,
But
yeah,
it's a lot of playing, and it was a great experience. I have lots of great memories of that.
That's amazing. So then, did that kind of jump into other gigs then? Are you from 13 on, were there random other plays or other areas?
Not so much. It cooled down for 4 years.
Right.
I was doing
Early
too much
retirement? You're
Yeah,
like, you
right.
know what? I
I've made it.
Yeah.
I've hit
Had enough.
No, there were. I was doing a bunch of school stuff and other, like youth orchestras outside of school and
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff. And it was just,
So
real
what
busy.
made the transition to sax happen then?
When I got to middle school, in the public school, I was real interested in joining jazz band. There's no clarinet in the jazz band. You got to play like sax, trombone, or trumpet, or be in the rhythm section. So I decided I wanted to play guitar in the jazz band. So I was like, went up to my band director and I was like, yeah, I want to do this. I want to play guitar. He said, well, I don't usually allow guitar players to be in the jazz band because they don't know how to play jazz chords, and it's just a pain to have a guitarist in the jazz band, to be honest. So he's like, if you take some lessons, I'll think about it. Like I'll audition you, or after the summer's over, and we'll talk about it. So
How'd
I
that go?
took lessons and ended up getting into the band, playing guitar.
What?
And so I was like, doing that for a while, and then
Wait, you got into the jazz band after a summer of lessons?
yeah,
That's
I really liked it.
that's pretty impressive. Do you
Yeah.
play guitar still?
Yeah, I still do.
What?
Yeah.
So then I still don't understand, how did you not just go down that path?
Well, okay, I gotta fast forward a little bit.
Yeah.
So I decided that I wanted to start playing the saxophone because my dad and my brother, I have an older brother who's also a musician, and the music that they were listening to never had any clarinets in it. Had some saxophones.
This entire
like-
podcast is going to revolve around getting kids to stop playing the clarinet.
No, let me, yeah, sidebar. Clarinet's very cool, and I still play it, and it's probably the reason I'm playing with the Daddies, is because I can play the clarinet.
Oh, is that what you
Yes.
play with them?
I play alto, sax, and clarinet with them.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so back to business here. I asked my band teacher if I could take home an alto sax for the weekend,
Yeah.
because I was like, I was just interested. Clarinet was fun, but I was like, yeah, I just want to try it out, see what's going on. So I brought the sax home, and we had some Aebersold, Jamie Aebersold, jazz backing tracks and books, whatever. We had some of those laying around the house, and so I plugged one into my parents' computer and recorded on their iMac microphone, me playing the sax, improvising along. And I gave the CD to my band director, and he was like floored. He was so impressed.
Really?
Yeah, he still talks about it.
So then he smashed your guitar.
He smashed my guitar, stole $1,000 from me, and gave me a saxophone.
But
No.
that's what did it.
That's kind of what did it. So the following year, when I went to high school, we had 2 jazz bands.
Yeah.
In the more advanced jazz band, I was playing guitar, and in the less advanced one, I started playing saxophone. So I was doing double duty, and then I started to get really good really fast at the saxophone.
That's just your
Yeah.
instrument. That one just
Yeah. And the
Really?
guitar, I was stuck. Like, I
Uh-huh.
wasn't improving really. I was having a hard time, like, conceptualizing it.
you were trying to blow into it. It wasn't working.
Yeah. Where does the reed go?
This
Doesn't make sense.
Can you play Stairway to Heaven? Yeah, absolutely. Wow, damn it.
That's how I get the strings to vibrate. So I blow on them. Yeah.
Oh, so that's
So that's
pretty
how I
cool
was-
to hear that how like an instrument can just like
Yeah, it's weird.
call
It just-
out to you.
It
and
totally
there it
did.
is. Man, as soon as you picked it up, something special happened.
Yeah. So I just kind of gave up the guitar a little bit. Still play it, but quite less frequently. I never gig on it or anything like that.
And then when does the big gig come your way? Like, how's that happen?
The Daddies?
Yeah.
Well, so I was in school down at the University of Oregon,
Uh-huh.
Eugene, Oregon, and that's where many of the band members went to school. Particularly the original members, of which there are still 3. The lead singer, the
And tell
trumpet
people which
player.
songs to Google. 'Cause, I
Okay.
mean, the big one is
The big one is Zoot Suit Riot.
Right.
Riot!
Yeah.
That's my part. Which I had to admit, because I wasn't really big in the like punk ska scene when I was growing
Yeah.
up. The first time I heard that song was Weird Al Yankovic
his take
doing
on it.
Grapefruit Diet.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, it's great.
By the way, have you heard Word Crimes, what he did to Blurred Lines?
No, I haven't heard that
It's
one. No.
maybe the most brilliant thing he's ever done.
Wow.
People go YouTube Word Crimes. It's not only the video's brilliant and the writing is brilliant.
Wow.
It's the best thing he's ever done.
Yeah.
And he's done so many great things.
He's done so many great things.
He'll never top Word Crimes.
He's a huge inspiration to me.
As
Absolutely.
a sax player.
Yes, as a saxophonist. His saxophone playing is off the charts.
Wait,
I'm just kidding.
how is he an influence
Just-
on you?
I just love the comedy and music together.
Yeah.
Obviously he's not the first one to do that.
But he really took it to a level that nobody else did
Yeah.
consistently.
And he introduced me to a lot of music too.
Really?
Yeah. like the Cherry Pop and Daddies, for example. I literally didn't know who they were until, which is embarrassing because they were like right down the road from me, a huge band.
That is hilarious, and that was your path.
Yeah. Yeah. Amongst other
So you
songs
could like
and-
cross-check some sources from Weird Al Yankovic, his parodies, and then you'd find the actual song.
Right.
That's kind of a funny way.
That's exactly what happened.
Really?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Did you have multiple albums or CDs of his? or-
Yeah, I had, let's see.
Did you ever see him live?
I saw him live once. My dad last week actually played with him.
Did you go crazy when you heard this? Did you get to meet him? Or
No. Well, because they were in Oregon.
yeah,
So, you know,
I would have
didn't
flown
get to-
home. We're in Chicago right now, folks. I
We're in
would have
Chicago.
flown. Whoa!
Because he's doing this project right now where he orchestrated a bunch of his tunes, so he's playing them with orchestras.
Weird Al's doing that right now.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
funny. I heard him on a podcast. It might have been Gilbert Gottfried's podcast. Who it's pretty brilliant, by the way.
That's great.
And he was talking about the people who say no, people who didn't let him. I think Prince was one of them. And he said it was a real weird, like, I think there was like an American Music Awards right after the fact, and he got a letter also saying that, like, I think Prince was going to be in his same row, and not to make any eye contact.
Oh my God.
And he did say he thought it wasn't just him. He's pretty sure everyone in that row got that. So, like, imagine that, man. It's like, whoa. You know, who else was in the row? You know, Quincy Jones, like, man, I can't look at Prince. You know, yeah, Prince said no. I didn't know that. How interesting that he's an influence on a sax player. Because,
Yeah.
guys, all jokes aside, Josh is really, really good. Really good. And we'll get into that because the combination of your talent and your mindset is what draws me to you, my friend.
That's sweet.
So anyway, a lot of the players from the Daddies end up where
Oh,
you
right.
are. That's where they went, right?
You're good at circling back. I'm not good at that. I just move right on.
My whole
Yeah.
thing is, you know, eventually I come back to
Yeah.
it, but I am the king of digression. Like, if you can stay with me, it's you know, it's a lot of flourishing colors. What I don't like is when people talk about, oh, no, let's get back here. You want to get to the point. I get that too if there's limited time, but if there's not, and you're going from point A to point B, why can't you look around like, you know, oh, I got to get to the store, but, well, is that a dove? That's a dove. I can't believe there's a dove right there. Okay, I got to get to the store. Like, whoa, that's an old car. I think that's the car that was used in, like, National Lampoon's whatever. You know, so it's like you can see
Just
things.
describe my Tuesday.
Yeah. And that's what a digression, I
Yeah.
think, just colors the path.
Yeah,
So I
totally.
don't digress, neither do you. We color the path.
Color the path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes forget where we're going, but, you know.
Often.
Yeah,
Often.
oftentimes.
Yeah. Anyway,
But
so yeah,
yes.
they all went to school down there. Or
So
many
what-
of them.
Is
yeah.
that where they went to look for players when they
Yeah.
needed?
So
Oh.
so there was a vacancy. So I
An
went
old motel.
at an old motel.
A young man and
It was
his
deserted.
mother.
It was haunted. Are you Bates Moteling me right
That's
now?
what I was wondering if it was.
Okay. Yes, it was exactly like the plot
Okay.
of Bates Motel.
Yeah. But they needed a sax player.
They needed a sax player.
Okay, so then what happened?
So what happened is, so I went when I was in school there. I did my undergraduate degree and my graduate degree there.
Uh-huh.
And after my first year of graduate school, they had a vacancy. Their alto and clarinet player moved to New Orleans, and so they asked the jazz studies director of the school,
Yeah.
said, "Hey, do you know any sax players who might be able to step up?" And so he gave him my contact info.
Wow. How old were you?
22. Yeah, 22.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then what was the audition process like?
They gave me like 5 or 6 tunes, and I went down to the basement.
They
where-
gave you
where we
sheet
rehearsed.
music?
Yeah,
or
they gave me sheet
okay.
music.
And
Yeah, there's sheet music for everything, and embarrassingly, I'm still reading it on the shows
To this
'cause
day.
It's hard.
really?
Yeah, it's hard music, and it's very involved.
Harder than you thought it was?
Oh
going to
yeah,
be?
wait, it's the hardest music I've ever played.
Whoa.
Well, I should say in this kind of setting.
But
It's the
when you're
hardest music I've
listening
ever
to
played.
it, you didn't assume.
No.
Yeah.
It sounds so relaxed, you know, and like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, it comes off real. It's expertly, I should say. Yeah.
To put it in layman's terms for people who aren't even musicians, so that you're not
Mhm.
totally breaking it down, what seems to make it so difficult?
Let's see.
That's tricky.
It's tricky. It's very tricky.
Because you want to speak to the musicians that
want
are
to talk
out there
about
and
block
the
voicings
non-musicians.
and explosion chords.
Yeah.
And all the
explosion chords.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no.
Wait, what's the difference between like explosion chord and like a stab?
An explosion chord, as far as I understand it, is when you, as a horn section, have like a unison line together, playing the same notes, and then maybe at the end of the line, you move
Oh.
into a chord.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I got to do
Yeah.
that. I've done that like vocally often.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, okay.
Explosion
okay.
chord. And a stab would just be like a one-off.
Bam!
Yeah.
bam. Yeah, yeah.
Totally.
Explosion chord. I haven't heard that term.
That might be a Steve Owenism.
Really?
My jazz studies
Okay.
guy.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know.
So you
He's
do,
a funny guy.
You do the 5 songs. You get them down.
Yeah.
So because they're so hard, I mean, what was?
Oh yeah, I practiced a lot.
Was your prep like, holy crap?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So then you get to the audition space. Is it just like, where'd you go? Do you remember?
You mean
Was
like which?
Yeah, where did they sit? Where did they audition you? Was it like
It was in the
Pancake House? or
lead
was
singer's house, the Golden Nugget.
it- Right. There's a reference.
Yes. So we were in the basement
Yeah.
of his house.
How nervous are you?
Not too nervous because I knew the trombone player at the time.
What's his name?
His name's Joe Froyen.
So what was the leader like? Who's the leader of
The leader is named Steve Perry.
Steve Perry.
He's
And-
the vocalist. He writes all the music, and he doesn't manage the band, but he's like the liaison between the management and the band.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, books all the flights and does all the. He's the Dave Calzaretta of
Oh, is he?
Cherry Pop and Daddy.
How did he? Dave Calzaretta, folks, is a guy that tends to whisk me around the world, and sometimes with Josh here. So
He employs us both.
he's one of those guys. Okay, cool. So what was he like when you first met him? Was he pretty cool, or was he kind of?
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
He's like a real smart dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, very well educated, well read.
So you're 22. The audition goes well,
Yeah.
and then what's the next move? Was it like,
Next
all right,
move-
kid, you're coming with us? And
Next move is I go home and I send him an email and I was like, it was great to meet you and to hear you sing in person. To like, thanks for having me in your house. And it was great. Had a great time.
And you admitted to like stealing silverware.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I said I saw all those B-roll tapes in the box behind me, and I stole the whole box.
Stole it.
I'm gonna sell them on the internet.
And thank you for the
Gonna
audition.
use the money to extort you.
And thank you.
Yes, and thank you.
Really nice meeting you.
Yeah.
So, what you send an email, which
Yeah,
is
sent
nice.
an email. Yeah, and he responded. He was like, "Yeah, thanks. I think we want to move forward with you." So
Fantastic.
Great.
How long was it till the next first gig?
let's see. I think I auditioned in August, and our first gig was in early October, maybe late September.
So then, from that point on, were they sending you charts, and you had to like learn stuff before, or were you just rehearsing with them from that point on?
So I got the book from the old alto player. They sent me a set list, and I prepared the tunes.
What was the first gig?
The very first gig was kind of a weird one. It was somebody donated like $500 million to the science department at the University of Oregon, and they had this like donor party or something.
Whoa.
So we were playing in the ballroom of the student union for these random people.
Okay, so your first gig was corporate.
Yeah, it was weird.
All right, so let's get past that. then.
Okay,
I
past
want
that.
What was the first gig that was a true, like it was their fans? It was a concert.
We played in Reno at the Chilean Beer Festival.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can't remember where exactly it was.
Was that your first time flying out then for a gig, or not? That was college based, nothing like that, but an actual.
Yeah, I think so.
How did that feel?
Great.
It's
The very second I got home, I bought this case that this alto's in, which has fits in the overhead, and it fits a clarinet and a flute in there as well.
Oh, great. Yeah, because that's a whole challenge. Traveling with the instrument is
Yeah.
a challenge.
Yeah, I had like a kind of a weak case, and then I had to carry my clarinet in a separate case.
People don't think about that because, people are afraid. Like a guitarist who has his baby, he doesn't want to check that.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's like you see like photographers, if you see them flying,
Yeah.
they're not going to check their camera,
Yeah, no way.
you know.
So, but it gets tricky because of the size of these things. You
Yeah.
know, sax is pretty.
This one in particular is nice.
Yeah, okay.
It fits. I rarely get stopped.
Have you ever had an issue with like an overhead or anything?
I've
like that?
never had an issue. No. Sometimes we take little Airbuses if we have an express flight. The little ones, you know. And I can't take anything, and there's like a pocket on the side to pull everything out because it barely fits.
Oh,
but
geez.
it does.
Have you ever had to hold it in your seat and just like-
Once. Yeah, once.
So then, what are the concerts like overall? Like you're doing the cool. Like what other kind of room? Will they do a House of Blues type place?
Yeah,
Or will
absolutely.
they-
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
And we're starting to do more club shows now too, because our latest album, which everyone should check out, by the way.
Check them all out, people.
The new album is called Bigger Life. and it's the first one I've been on actually.
Oh, that's
which is
fantastic,
exciting.
man.
Because
Yeah.
when I joined, we were doing the 20th anniversary of Zoot Suit Riot. That was the album we released, like right when I joined. And so it's like, okay, gotta wait for us to record a new one. With me on it.
Here's what always fascinates me about this, because their heyday, their hits, I don't know, was it 90s?
Yeah.
Okay, in the 90s. So I'm so fascinated by people who are trying to, maintain or keep things going, because they've like never stopped recording for the most part, right?
Totally.
It's still, and they have, would you like consider their fans kind of diehard?
Yeah, I would. I think many of them, I think we have kind of two partitions, I should say. We have one stream that's like ska and punk.
Yeah.
And like was really riding third wave ska or whatever it was. And then we have the other stream, which is swing dancers and people who like swing music, because there was a period where we had to kind of rebrand. I wasn't in the band at this time, but they had to kind of rebrand and put together like a real show if they wanted to get booked. We had a new booking agency.
When you say a real show, do you mean musically or even like from a visual standpoint?
I mean more musically, like a concept. So we started doing Rat Pack songs, and some
Would
other,
that be
other
maybe
swing.
When like a Michael Bublé and when that kind of scene started kind of coming up? I wonder if that was around that time.
I think so. I would think so.
That's what's interesting, because I kind of dug the kind of big band kind of ska vibe. I like even with the what is it, the Mighty Mighty?
Yeah, the Boss Tones.
Yeah, I like a lot of stuff they did. It was just cool and it was fun. It was
really
different. Cool. I dug it a lot.
It's really cool. I still love it.
Yeah, it's enjoyable stuff, but you kind of wonder like how you have to. It's a niche,
It is a niche.
And you got to really figure out like where do you go and how do you keep it alive. And it kind of sucks because it's one that should have never gone away. Like you guys, if you've never listened, listen. Just go out and listen on whatever. It's so easy to find.
It's all on Spotify.
Because it's fun. It's like a fun style,
It is very fun.
But when you get to when they're like at this point where they had to kind of rebrand, are they kind of going back to the roots, or are they trying something totally different now? What would you say?
You mean right at this moment?
Right at this moment, like what?
Yeah, we've been doing. We did a tour in June, where we did like the Victoria Ska Fest up in British Columbia, and some other shows where we were doing like a set of older songs, like from first Ferociously Stoned album. This is their first one, and some others, some like lesser known, but like really rockin' tunes, like a rockin' set.
How many months do they tour, would you say, out of the year? If you kind of put it together, even if it's sporadic, what is it? Maybe 3 months worth of work?
Maybe
something like that.
Something like that.
And then you live in Chicago, so they're based out there. And like, you're in Chicago, and then you have to still do your thing, to make it like a 12-month thing. And this is like the example that anybody in anything. I used to just gear this toward the arts and musicians, but I mean, this could be any profession.
Well, especially now, the gig economy.
Yes, gig economy, man. It's so true. It's because you have that, and that's a pretty sweet deal. And now with recording too, though the recording industry is not what it used to be.
Certainly not.
There was a time when I got that. You put out the album or the CD, and then you if it does well, you do really well. Where now it's like it could do well, and you're doing okay. It's just a totally different culture.
Or more than likely, just nobody hears it.
Yeah,
that's my experience.
Yeah. But I'm saying even for those who get that kind of play,
totally.
We're in this world now where most artists they have to make their money on performances.
Yeah,
the sales aren't happening because of the Spotify, and I don't have any kind of I don't have a million seller, but I can still look on like a Spotify or something, and I could see like, oh wow, 200 people listen to this tune, this month. Like, oh, that's awesome.
That's pretty sweet.
And here's, 10 cents. Like, oh, that's not as awesome. But there's an artist, Derek Fawcett, and if you know Derek,
don't know.
He said the best thing to me when I was thinking about, oh man, it's weird. You put the stuff out, but what does it matter? And how do you make any kind of money back? And I was lucky enough to where my last CD that I did 1 million years ago, I made the money back in like 2 months or whatever, and it was great.
Killing.
But at this point, when you see that, it doesn't really matter. Like if I work on anything and I release anything, it doesn't really matter how many people are going to hear it. At my level, I'm not going to ever see that money again.
Totally.
And Derek really put it all in perspective, and he just said, well, you know, you have all the other gigs, you do what you do. Like, it's really about people hearing your music. Just get it out there.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
about expressing yourself.
Yeah, and he talked about that on his end. He said he doesn't really care about the money from the sales.
Oh, no.
He works as a singer, and he's also an instructor. His big thing is just however you can get it. And I've been doing that at my original shows too.
Yeah.
I've been saying that, like, you know what, wherever you can find it, steal it. I have some download cards. If you give me $5, you can have a download card, all yours. But whatever, people, just Google me. And
Yeah, you can find it for free if you really want to.
yeah, and I'd rather people hear it than not.
Totally.
So I'm okay with that.
That's really all that matters, right?
Yeah, in the end, it's about just getting it out there, because why not?
Why not?
I do approach it the same way I approach the show, though, where, if nobody likes what I'm doing on stage, or if nobody hears the songs, I'm just really satisfied doing it. Like, I have so much fun doing it. Being up there on stage, especially, I'm having a blast.
Yes.
I just wrote and produced these 2 short films that are in post-production right now.
Sweet.
And I don't know, when they're coming out. I don't know when they're going to be done. But I had so much fun writing them. I had so much fun acting in them. And I had so much fun in the filming process that I walked away finished.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be fun when I see them.
That's
but
amazing.
It's just... doing it was so cool. It was so much fun. Someday I'll write something else,
Yeah.
But that's the journey.
Well, yeah, for me, as a young professional who
Yeah.
has a lot of free time, who don't have any kids or anything like that, it's just me and my wife going through life.
Yeah.
I have to find ways to fill my days. And sometimes it's hard to find something that's like real proactive in terms of like getting me paid. But I can distract myself for years. Just, writing stuff.
Creatively.
Yeah, creatively. Writing stuff, playing with little gadgets,
Yeah.
like musical gadgets. I used to do this when I was younger. I spent a lot of time on the computer growing up. I would we had a bunch of scores, like big orchestral scores, because both my parents went through music school and stuff. So I would take like these scores, bring them up to my bedroom, and just like type them out in like music notation software, all the parts,
Oh, wow.
and just like save it, move on to the next one.
just
because.
Just because.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's huge. And then and you want to be used to doing stuff creatively, especially during some of the downtime, because then when stuff picks up and the wallet's really happy, so many people can get really angry about not having that time and not, oh man, I can't, it happens to me, but it doesn't make me aggressively angry.
Because you just know that you're going to get back to that later.
Yeah.
It's just right now you can't quite fit it in your schedule.
And I think it lets people get down. In fact, we should talk about the concept of like knowing what you're involved in, and then knowing what's outside of that. Because I think some people, and again, I think this applies to every job known to man. Some people try to make the job more than it is, and I don't think you should try to don't worry about making it too big. If this thing is paying your bills and keeping food on the table, it's already a big thing. It's a huge thing.
Right.
So if you want something outside of that, like creatively, but you still want your bills paid, it's like you don't have to look at the job and say, oh man, this isn't working. No. If it's paying you and you're not going to make any more money somewhere else, like, it's okay to stay if you think you can still.
It doesn't need to be your sole source of
soul, SOUL.
Yeah, soul source.
Yeah, which good CD.
Actually mean SOL. Spanish.
Oh, did you? Oh, well.
The sun.
How's your Spanish?
Poor.
Okay. But I mean, there's something about using, instead of just like crapping on the job that you have, there's something about looking at it differently and saying, okay, this is my base.
It's like taking a shower.
Explain.
Well, it's like, I like being clean, right?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want to take off all my clothes and get under this like weird faucet that's dripping water on me.
Right.
That's not really that pleasant if you think about it.
Uh-huh.
but I really like being clean. I like after. But I know I have to take the shower, you know, if I want my wife to still love me.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And then outside of that shower, that cleanliness becomes the basis for you being able to, let me just wear whatever I want on top of this clean body.
Exactly.
Oh, see that? Oh, we're dropping knowledge. It's time to have a very interesting beverage and see what all that's about. And then we're gonna keep talking about this. Here's your eye blink, folks.
There's one person
It's just
listening.
that one person. Everyone else, you don't get one. No eye blink for you. That was your eye blink. So that was a second for you, and we got an interesting beer. Right now, I'm only talking probably to my brother Daniel because he's so happy that I enjoy stouts. I enjoy in particular barrel aged stouts, but this is a barrel aged ale, correct?
Yeah.
And this came from.
Crux Fermentation Project in Bend, Oregon.
And what did you say you heard? Did you hear something specific?
Well, I read some. I don't know. You know.
Sure.
We'll see what the source is.
All right.
But there were 2 articles written by the same guy.
Mm-hmm.
What was the website? Some beerhead blogger website said that this was the best Belgian style beer in the United States.
It's
one of the top.
Amazing. It's
Yeah.
called Freak Cake.
Freak Cake.
And where is it from again?
It's from Bend, Oregon. Crux Fermentation Project.
It's from the Banished series.
That's right.
Barrel
Banished series.
aged.
It's a brown ale that they aged in some barrels with some dried fruit.
Oh, fantastic. All right. Anyway, so that's important for my brother to hear that because he's always interested in fancy craft beers.
It's very fancy.
This is incredibly fancy.
Yeah.
Anyway, cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
So here's what we were just talking about. That basis. This is important, and I think this is important in like every aspect of life, not just the music job thing. It's making sure you figure out where you're at. I'm starting to see that. I started to see it with players a lot. First and foremost, just I've seen players get like real sweet gigs. I have a real sweet gig. I'm one of those guys. I got I was performing. I was trying to get the record deal. The record deal didn't totally work out. I did an independent thing, which I was really happy about because I had enough of a local Chicagoland fan base that supported me, and I was able to work and stuff. But still, not enough to truly do this forever. And then some guy comes up to me and basically says, "Hey, you want to do this for a living?" And I didn't know it was possible, and now I see it's very possible.
Hey kid, you want to earn $20?
It was just like that, and that $20 has gone such a long way.
Yeah.
But I mean, here I am in the corporate world, basically the corporate jobbing world, and doing a lot of weddings and corporate private events. And like this week has been weird. I was at this cool club called Untitled Wednesday night for a private event for some traveling company from someplace, and then early in the morning I was in Joliet for Joliet Junior College's welcoming morning gala, and then that night I did a concert in East Dundee. By the way, East Dundee, most charming little town I've seen in a long time.
Any crocodiles over there?
No, which is funny because they have a battle going on with West Dundee, and it's very suburban and kind of adorable with all these little cafes. But when they talk about the battle, all of a sudden you would think it's like Compton. You would think it's like a rap battle, East versus West.
Whoa.
But it was such a charming town, and to anybody in the Illinois area, check it out. But I made a Crocodile Dundee joke, so it's just funny, great minds.
Yeah.
But, those 3 gigs happened fast and furiously. And then I had this little piano thing. But bottom line, all of it's happening just because of this one corporate entity. Now, did I play my own music? No. Was I super tired for the morning one?
No.
God, yes.
Oh.
However, at one point in that morning one, everyone's struggling through it. And the whole time I'm thinking, man, I know so many great bands that are just like trying to work one weekend a month. And then here I am, on a Thursday morning, now the gigs are just like being thrown at me, So, I mean, I love that. And it's not my music, those gigs, those are 3 very different entities, but under this cover band umbrella. And first off, I'm having fun anyway.
Yeah, well, you're a fun guy.
Yeah, oh, thanks.
You're just gonna have fun.
Yeah, I mean, you've
Part of your outlook on like
you
life.
performed
I think.
with me, you know.
Yeah.
And you could see my vibe. Like, I just want to enjoy the moment, you know, and identify what it is. Like, these people are here to hear some cover band play Signed, Sealed, Delivered or Jesse's Girl. They're not here for like the Robbie Celestin experience, you know. But then I'm up there leading it or whatever.
They're there for the Josh Hetwer experience. They want to hear me play tenor saxophone.
Where's Josh? Josh. But I mean, that world is still fun. Like, I never lose sight of the fact that, all right, knock it off, dude. You're on stage singing songs. And I don't know a lot of people that will start to get away from that. One buddy of mine who was in the same company I am, man, he just got angry and tainted. Every gig sucked. Every part of it sucked. And then he would do an original show with his music and then totally be cheered up for, like, you know, it just changed his whole demeanor.
Yeah, reset.
For 2 days. And then he was back to just angry guy. Mm-hmm. And in my viewpoint, it was, you know, first off, I would shake him and say, dude, you signed up for this.
Wake up.
Yeah, you know what you're doing. You know, you can't say, like, I think I'll be the paper boy. And then, like, the first house, you're like, what is this all about? What, I'm delivering papers? Like, yeah,
everyone's moved digital.
Yeah.
This is useless.
That's what you said you were going. You said yes. You said, yeah, I'll take that paper boy job, you know? So it's just, like, weird. Like, make the donuts? You need a donut maker? Yeah, I'll make the donuts. Day 2. What the hell's with me making all these donuts? Well, that's what you agreed to do. You're the donut maker.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm just not going through...
I think some people don't really know what they're getting themselves into, right? Like, you know, they want to sing
professionally or mentally. Like,
I think mentally.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, maybe professionally too, but they think like, yeah, I want to sing my own stuff, and in order to supplement my income, I might have to do some things I don't want to do.
Yeah.
But maybe some people don't realize that, you know.
I guess, you know.
And they get real bitter about the fact that they have to do that. But I think everyone does. Right?
It's everyone in life, you know.
Like,
I mean, except for Steven Spielberg. You know?
Yeah. I think about people who work back in Oregon. Mm-hmm. Everyone teaches. All the musicians, they all teach too.
And these are people who would like to be out there playing.
Yeah, they just want to play.
Yeah.
But they can't. They have to teach.
Yeah.
You know, they all have like a college job, or they're teaching private lessons, or both. Mm-hmm. Or they have another job.
And you teach during the week?
Not
sometimes.
Anymore. No, I just quit. I just quit that job.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
While we're teaching our lessons, you're like, man, this isn't good for me. What am I doing? We need a teacher. Yeah, no, I'll take that job. What's with all the teaching? What?
You didn't say I was going to have to teach.
What'd you sign up to be? A teacher?
Yeah. No, I did start to get a little bitter about that.
So you had to get out of it.
It was still fun, but I just, you know, it was just taking up time that I wanted to spend doing something else, so I got out of it. You know?
And you have enough gigs, you know, you have gigs too.
Right.
So
I did need it when I first moved here.
Yeah.
Because I was only playing, you know, like 3 or 4 times a month maybe, but it's escalated a bit.
And that's the key, because it's funny. I was just talking about this yesterday. There are certain bar gigs that the cover band does, and when we first started doing all of those, they pay less than the corporate stuff, but I liked it because I had no headache. I'm not booking anything, so somebody's booking and doing it all for me. And maybe it's a little less money if I'm at some bar on the south side or something, but I was having fun. I liked the dichotomy. Actually, I liked, you know, tomorrow you and I are at this big gig, private gig at the Field Museum in Chicago. Somebody's renting out the freaking Field Museum of Chicago. You and I are playing on it with a 10-piece or 16-piece band.
Can we just talk about how insane that is?
That's
insane.
That's it. Somebody just thought, you know, let's do it in the museum, you know, which it surprises me.
It's very surprising.
Yeah, and
when I got married, I did it at my grandma's house. And it was the most beautiful thing ever.
There you go.
It was great.
But did she have the bones of an old dinosaur?
She did, yeah. She's an
archaeologist?
She's a paleontologist.
Paleontologist, yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Na, 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 na. Wait, that's not.
We were on a break.
Well, yeah.
She was Ross from Friends.
Really?
That was my grandma. Yeah.
Is that what you just did, a Friends reference?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There's something about all of a sudden now. Just yesterday, I was thinking, yeah, maybe I'm okay not doing as many bar gigs anyway. And part of that's drying up for like high quality bands to get high quality money on the bar scene.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's not what it used to be. Because back in the day, bars would kind of have this 50-50 agreement with bands to where they would promote the crap out of it.
Yeah, they invest in the band.
And then they would, there was even one, of all places, there was a place called Northwoods in Northwest Indiana that I couldn't believe what they did. They started bringing in Chicago bands, paying the extra money, but then people knew if they went to that place, even if they didn't know the band, they knew that they were going to get a high-quality band, And that changed everything, So I don't see places doing that as much. They're not thinking about the big picture. They're thinking about how much money do I spend this weekend. But anyway,
totally.
That scene, I thought, yeah, I'm okay maybe if I'm a little bit out of that scene all of a sudden. So, and there's a lot of things I'm saying no to now.
Yeah. You don't need to. Well, this is part of the fun because, like we were just saying, you have to supplement your creativity in some way.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, maybe you don't have to as much. You can start scaling back. That's a beautiful thing.
Oh, yeah. So, and, because, again, it's all about paying the bills. And like anyone out there, like if you guys have... I think if somebody has a dream and they're just starting out and they have a dream and they want to pursue that thing, you freaking go for it because we need that. The world needs dreamers.
Yeah.
So important. So I'm all about that. But at the same time, I don't want you guys going broke. I think you have to chase the dream. And then when it looks like, I think at some point you decide how much time you could put into chasing whatever your dream is. And you chase the dream, but then at some point you have to stop and then kind of weigh these two possibilities. Like, okay, are the possibilities now still, is the possibility of me reaching said dream really, really possible? Or now is it more possible that I'm not going to reach that dream and I'm going to be living in a box under the expressway?
Right.
And if the expressway box thing it becomes a little more of a possibility,
better start getting friendly with some rats.
No, I don't think that's the answer. No,
it's the other way around.
I think you should start looking for the other dream, which is eating and clothing and those showers, those pesky showers you're talking about, stuff like that. I think that's so find that. And then the funny thing is, here I am like chasing the music business. I just want to be somewhere where I'm just playing my own music and doing everything and my stuff, and then creating. Maybe I'll make films. Blah blah blah. Those are like my two big dreams. And when the last kind of record deal thing fell through and didn't happen. And then I kind of became more corporate in the film world, so I wasn't doing like creative film stuff. And I realized like, oh, well, I got this cover band thing that's going to really pay all my bills for a long, long time. So I take that, but then the beautiful thing happens. I take 2 years to do nothing creative, and I'm just doing the cover band thing. And I'm a band leader, so there's a few extra headaches involved in that.
A few?
Yeah.
A few million?
A few million headaches. But then all of a sudden, it's like you're going through, and then you stop and you realize, okay, now I've got my sea legs. I know how to work this corporate thing.
But Lieutenant Dan, you ain't got no legs.
Your references are like older than you. So all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, guess what? Now I have the means and the security to do an original show over here. Oh, hey, I'm gonna produce 2 films over here. So it all comes back around. So
totally,
like, if the dream doesn't work like where you want it to be, like that all-encompassing dream, then you find a way to like find a base so that you're survive. People, well, wear clothes and get food.
Here's the problem. That's great, and I think everyone needs to listen to that advice, because I think everybody has a path that's different than what they expect.
Yeah.
Everybody's path is different. I thought I was going to be working in orchestras playing the clarinet. Like, if you asked me that 8 years ago, what I'm going to be doing in 8 years,
wow,
it would be very different. However, with the social media today, right, people only see what they think is people who are living their dreams,
yes,
right? Especially if they're following influencers, musicians, pop stars, whatever. They just see people who are living their dreams. If they feel like they're not achieving what they're dreaming to be achieving, that they're failing. And that's a very scary thing. Because it's right there on your phone. You can't look away.
Yeah. It's so interesting because social media there's like so many good aspects to it. And it actually helps me a lot for my personal career once I figured it out. But man, it's toxic. I mean,
Yeah, I don't use it.
more often than not, it's toxic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know, because I saw your tweet about not using it. And it was so brilliantly put.
I know.
Oh God, you were
Yeah, I
like,
tweet that every morning. Check
Yeah.
my feed.
and however you copy it on Instagram and YouTube and like simultaneously is like amazing.
Every month or two, I'll post a picture on Instagram of my cat.
And that's as far as you go.
far
Yeah,
as I
you're
go.
not very active on there.
No.
Yeah.
Actually, when I first moved to town, I just was off Facebook.
Uh-huh.
I would check some things, but then I started getting friend requests from people as I met them around here, and I was like, okay, it's really useful.
Yeah, yeah. oh man, you know, someday I'm going to have Becky Schneider on here, and you know, she's an amazing vocalist, and props to her. She's this beautiful girl, could be a model, and she has those types of looks, and her voice is crazy good. She's you know, a skinny, beautiful Caucasian girl, brunette, and she sings like she's, you know, Aretha. Like she has this big, boisterous, soulful voice.
Wow.
And she was like homeschooled, living in LaPorte, Indiana, working in a cubicle. And through Facebook, she started finding working musicians in Chicago, and she started just friending them, okay,
Wow.
randomly. She comes across my page. I see her, you know, I'm like, oh, I don't know this person. But as soon as I look at who she knows, like mutual friends,
Yeah, the mutual friends.
all the working
That's the smartest thing I've ever heard.
all the working musicians in Chicago. So I'm blown away by this. So then I go to her page, and she has a recording up on it, and she sounds amazing. She was doing Minnie Riperton's "Loving You Is Easy 'Cause You're Beautiful," and there's like a super crazy high little whistle. Oh, thank you. Little high whistle tone in that, and she. So I was blown away. I messaged her, which I don't usually do on Facebook, and I say, "Hey, I just heard that recording. That is great. I see we have a lot of mutual friends. I'm sorry, I don't know if we've met or not. You know, if I don't remember you, but hey, nice to meet you." And then I friended her. She basically messaged me back and said, "Yeah, we've never met. I've been friending every working musician in the city
Oh, she came clean right away.
right away."
See, I would try to live the lie. Yeah, I just moved to town.
Oh,
you know,
remember?
it's-
Were you like you would say like, "Oh, remember we went to lunch?"
Yeah.
No, and then you just throw out random
Yeah,
names.
we did that gig together at the Frontier.
Shannon,
you know.
Shannon is still talking about you. Shannon, who's Shannon? Oh, come on, you don't remember
Shannon L. You know, Shannon Pete.
Shannon.
I can't remember.
You've got the con going. You're a grifter. So she came clean, and then she said, "I've just been friending all these, you know, working musicians, and after a while, your name starts coming up as someone I should know." And I said, "Well, I'll tell you, I work for this company, and someday they're going to have auditions, and when they do, I am throwing your name in the hat." So months later, they do need someone. I threw her name in the hat. We're like, I get called into the vocal auditions, even if it's not my band. They want me to be there to whatever. Like, what do you think, Robbie Celestin? You know,
Nice.
You know, maybe 25 girls.
Like the Howie Mandel.
I'd like to. I don't know.
No?
Only I'll shake your hand.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
So I
Is he
go
a
in.
germaphobe or something?
Yeah, big time.
Oh, really?
Big time. Yeah, I think he'll like fist bump, but he's a huge germaphobe. Google it. It's crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, all these girls come in to do these shows. She comes in, and it's funny because it's like, you know, they know that this is the random person that I brought in, and all these girls were like trained and working in the city, or you know, or just coming up, and all of a sudden this girl comes out of nowhere, and they're looking at me like, you know, who's this girl that you found us anyway? Like it's nowhere, you know. And it was just like a movie, you know. I'm like, well, let's see what she's got, you know. Let's see what the kid has, you know. It was, and she nails it. Gets the gig, thrives in the company. Now she moved out to LA and she's living she's living on the coast in Hollywood, maybe doing like vocal tracking for people.
Love it.
And full-time singer out in California from that little move, you know.
Damn.
So she knew how to use social media. And,
What have you done, Robbie?
and how about this? I've been able to help a few people land some gigs.
Mm-hmm.
She's one of those people who constantly, like every couple of months or whatever, if we're talking, she would always say, "Thanks for throwing my name in a hat." And I don't need that, but man, does it feel good.
That's real sweet.
Isn't that amazing?
That's really sweet.
Because she, you know, I mean, it was her talent that got her there anyway.
Of course, yeah, but everybody needs somebody to push them.
Yeah, and
you know?
to acknowledge that, that's class.
That is,
you know,
very classy.
But that's the good side of social media. For the most part,
Yeah, for the most part,
sucks.
it's miserable. I can't look at it.
Well,
I get very depressed, actually.
do you get depressed?
I don't think so, like clinically, but but like
What is it that brings you down the
what
most?
brings me down is like reading comments, just feeling like there's no hope
Yeah,
for the future.
when people get dark.
Well, people get dark, but there's like such a division, and it's all like right there in social media.
Yeah.
You know, I heard this stat the other day. It was like something about how only 2% of people on Twitter are leaving like a crazy amount of the comments, like proportionally.
Whoa.
Like huge percentage.
Uh-huh.
I don't know exactly, but only a small percentage of actual Twitter users are making comments and stuff. And so you got to think. It's hard to think. Okay, this isn't everybody's opinion, but when you read something,
That's the billboard.
yeah,
That
it's the billboard.
2% becomes the billboard,
Mhm.
and then that's what's shaping people's opinions and ideas. And then all the
Exactly.
other, and it's funny because all the other people who might have a more reasonable line of thought, they're also reasonable enough to like not
To not
waste their
post.
freaking time to post. You know?
Exactly.
But we don't see that, so now it's becoming like the louder and the bigger, and that's who's.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's kind of more important to just talk to people.
Yeah. Oh my God. And we've lost that.
Lost it completely.
Conversation, and I've mentioned this a few podcasts ago, but conversation and then being able to read an email properly or read a text properly, we have lost the ability to identify intent. My listeners have heard me say that. Like,
You got to use emojis. Just every word that comes up with the orange highlight,
You
just
think that'll
replace it
help?
with an emoji.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in this sense, this is where I feel like the machine. There's always those movies where the machines. They say the machines are going to take over. The machines have taken over, like they actually have.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. And what's your take on this? You can actually, and I can't remember if I mentioned this in an earlier podcast or not, but here's how the machines have officially taken over. Because now we're in this Facebook, Twitter place, or whatever, forget about whatever the social media realm is that people tend to swim in.
Tumblr,
Yeah.
mostly.
Yeah.
No.
Tumblr. And there's the Binder, there's the Tinder, there's the Bender, there's the Sender, there's all over the
You
place.
go.
No, but check this out. The machines, people run for your lives. The machines have taken over.
Stop this podcast right now.
The machines have
Turn your phone off. Throw it in the garbage.
The machines have officially taken over.
Yeah.
AI.
We're part software.
Check this out. In the movies, it's like they create the AI and then they chase you and try to kill you.
Yeah, they learn too quickly.
Yeah,
Then
well,
you can't control them.
What's happened is it's not necessarily AI so much as it's our brain waves and our ideas are now being filtered and warped through this computer portal.
Yeah,
And
right.
it's coming back out.
Right.
And it's coming back out to us, and we don't realize it's like we're looking in this warped mirror of ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and it's coming back to us, and then it's warping us and turning us into that, and we're not even that, It's crazy.
Yeah,
There's
is
this
crazy.
whole thing, there's a study called, it's a study of online disinhibition. Look it up, and it's talking about how it's not even truly what somebody feels, and it's taken, and you feel private, no one sees you, so you could say whatever the hell you want,
Yeah.
And I think what's going on and what's ruining like the real life people is that if you people say anything online, and when you're face to face with somebody, you have that different gear because there's something about being face to face and personal that makes you realize, oh, wait a minute, in this moment, this is kind of rude. I shouldn't say this. I would never, but then online, your brain does this weird switch where it's like, oh, I would never say this in person, but I could say it now because I'm typing it.
Totally, you're anonymous.
Yeah, and you don't have to pay for it at all. There's no comeback. The only comeback that might come to haunt you is another comment, and you can handle that.
Yeah,
because you're in your boxes behind your computer.
Just delete it.
Delete it.
Whatever.
Or get angrier.
Who cares?
But here's the twisted, the machines have taken over part. Check this out. The now that we're at this point where like it's coming back, and now that kind of attitude of quickness and stuff, it's starting to happen in personal relationships. I'm starting to see how people interact with one another. And I'm like, oh no, you're being Twitter right now. Like you're not being a person. You're talking to me like Twitter, and I see other people the way they interact.
Clickbait.
Dude, it's weird, and I know what's caused it. This is again, machines have taken over. I'm going to say it a million times. That might be the title of your podcast episode. The machines have taken over.
Well, they have.
You're becoming that's almost a cyborg as I look at you.
Yeah. Well, I am part robot.
Oh, I did not know that. That explains that one silver eye.
Yeah. Well, it's my right half. So when I play the saxophone, my right hand technique is really, really strong. My left hand technique is human, so imperfect.
Yeah. We can't have that. No. When are you chopping that thing off?
Yeah. Eventually. It's a little expensive.
Fair enough. Yeah. I think now people can look at Twitter I forget like naming things. People can look online. You can get exactly something said the way you want it, exactly the way you want it.
Right.
Oh, I don't like the way that's said. Boom. Let me switch to this. And then after the algorithms figure out how you want it said, then they start giving you that feed of what you want and how you want it. And now you can know somebody for like 5 years. Oh wow, what a nice person. And if they say one thing that's a little off kilter, instead of looking back, no one's researching anymore. Instead of researching that relationship in that 5 years, that 10 years, you're just living in that one moment the way you would a tweet. Like, oh, this person said that thing. Even though if you stepped back for 60 seconds and looked at the history of that person, if it seems totally different from all the times you've interacted with them, then you would know, oh, wait a minute. Let me delve into this. Let me take 1 second to think about this comment.
Yes.
If you do that, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get to the truth, and you're probably going to find out that it wasn't as harsh as you made it out to be. No one's researching anymore, and it only takes like 10 seconds.
It takes 10 seconds. The thing is, like, you see this with comedians a lot, because 10 years ago on Twitter, they would say something. Like Kevin Hart, for example, with the whole Oscar thing that happened a few months ago. He was supposed to host the Oscars, and he said some like homophobic thing in his tweet.
Yeah.
And it's, sure, probably shouldn't have said that in hindsight.
Right.
Whatever. Hindsight's 20/20, as they say. But is that really a reason to dislike somebody because of one thing that they said?
Right. When you know that maybe the history of them is not, it's people need. I mean, if somebody says something and they stand by it and they repeat it again and again and again, all right, well, that's who they are. But if somebody immediately apologizes and you couple that with a history that doesn't speak to that, it's like, oh, okay, guess what? They're human.
Yeah.
We want everyone to be a tweet. We want everyone
to be a tweet. We want everybody to be perfect.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, too, that this brings up is that when you see somebody, there's a lot of political discord right now, right?
Yeah.
All fueled by social media. We now, like myself as like a young liberal man, I get taken aback just by pure like instinctive reaction. If I hear like somebody's got a gun, I'm like, oh, you're a gun person. Even though like they're probably a great person, and
it's even affecting.
They're probably very responsible with their gun.
Right.
And I have no reason to be like, oh my God. But it's just like you're saying, with one little comment here or there, or like one little piece of who a person is, you can just completely.
Does it throw you off that I'm wearing a holster with 2 6-shooters right now?
Well, it did when I came in. But
okay. But what about the jing jangle of my spurs? Did that kind of mellow it out.
It's very soothing.
Yeah. Here's something I have to throw back your way, because when we talk about the machines taking over and we talk about how social media has affected personalities, I mean, I've seen people be nicer and get meaner, you know, not just the people that you and I have spoken about, but just so many people. I've seen it happen to where they're not the same person they were 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago. And sometimes they'll look at me and say, you know, well, you've changed so much. And
have you looked in a mirror lately?
Maybe I don't want to sound too cocky about this, but I've kind of been the same dude for the last 20 years.
Sure.
The same old boring guy, you know.
I can't vouch for you, but sure. I've only known you for a short time.
Yeah. So what I've noticed is now, here's something you probably can vouch for. When I first meet someone, if I'm really taken by who they are as a person or a performer or whatever, I just go big in the complimentary game. I mean, I let people know how great I think they are.
That I can't vouch for.
I think people don't do that enough. So
sure.
I'm like waving the flag for just saying nice things. I think it's too quick. People just want to go negative. It's a negative culture. I think most of the younger people coming up, you know, they're unfortunately becoming cynical. And, you know, Conan O'Brien, when he left the Tonight Show and he got fired or whatever, that was like the last thing he said is, please don't be cynical. Cynicism is no use for it. I hate it. It's true. I feel the same way.
Wow.
You know? Yeah. What a way to go out. And,
That's
you know,
strong.
he was angry. You know,
he's a great guy.
He has a great podcast, and my podcast, I just like talking about podcasts that are better than mine. That's just kind of what I do. No, but you know, you see people. You see, what I've noticed is that because of the online social media thing, the biggest thing I notice is, I'll be your friend. I'll tell you how great you are, and then at some point, if we're working together, especially, but even if we're friends, like, hey, that thing, you should think about this. You know, a criticism. As soon as I lay down a little criticism, then it's, oh, you've changed. Like, no, I haven't. We're just talking about something different now.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking about how great you are. Now we're just saying.
You know, Robbie, you used to be a lot happier. You used to think I was pretty good.
Yeah. So
something changed.
We're not at the point. And some people, I've met people who can fire off like a million criticisms all the time.
Sure.
And
it's really easy to do.
Yeah, and I let it kind of roll off, you know. If anything gets biting, I might say something, you know. Mm-hmm. But I don't think anybody realizes how easily I let it roll, you know. And people are jarred because I try to be complimentary and nice so that when I do say something that's a criticism, my hope is that, man, I've been really good to you for a long time, so now can you take this with a, you know, not a grain of salt, but take it with a pillow, you know. Just know that this is not... I'm not punching you, you know. I'm tapping you on the shoulder.
I still like you. But just listen to this for a second, because you could be better.
Yeah, and my last guest, Yvonne Gage, said, you know, especially for a younger generation, well, you're trying to critique them, but the entire time they're critiquing you. You know,
right.
And that's scary.
Right.
What do we do about this, Josh? How do we fix this?
I think you need to get meaner.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
I'm not becoming I'm a kind of a dinosaur in this culture because of my attitude?
Exactly.
Because you've observed me and you've seen me in stressful situations.
This is what I think.
Okay. I should lay on a couch right now.
You should lay on a couch? No. I'm not saying that your philosophy is wrong, because I think everybody needs to be nicer to each other.
Sure.
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly believe that. But... if you've heard of people who are mostly standoffish, but every once in a while they'll give you a compliment, and it means like the world when they give you that compliment. You know what I mean? It's like, okay. Then you, like, that commands respect, right?
Interesting. Yeah, that's right.
So, you know, I don't know. Maybe there's a little bit, at least from a leadership position.
I need to be
meaner.
meaner.
There's a little bit of that.
Yeah.
You might need to be meaner.
That's what I need to do right from the get-go.
Yeah. Just start dogging on people. Get physical.
Just,
WWE style.
Yeah, we've noticed that Robbie's become more punchy.
Robbie, you've changed.
Yeah, like the way he talks. No, he's like punching people more.
Yeah, he's very punchy.
He's like in the teeth. And he said, "Josh told me to do this." This is for your own good. He's a lot punchier and kickier too. Have you guys noticed the change in Robbie?
It's not me, it's you.
I mean, here's how do you? You're weird.
Yeah, I know.
Because how old are you?
I don't have any friends.
25?
Yeah, I'm 25.
It makes, first off, your references are like 50 years beyond you half the time. But besides that, I mean, you and I became so close so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, I love you to death. My family knows how much I love you. People are well aware.
Oh, by the way,
yes.
My wife says hi.
Oh, well,
speaking of families.
Come on now.
Yes.
No, I think that you are, well, first off,
it only took me 2 hours. I got there.
Yeah, I know you used to say that a lot earlier. You know what? You've changed.
I sure have.
You've changed.
Gotten a lot meaner.
Feel like you're getting darker. No, well, first off, let's get back to the beginning of the podcast just to say, you know, for obvious reasons.
For obvious reasons, this is not an interview. It's a conversation. Back to the beginning.
Using my own weapons against me. You're an incredible freaking player. I mean, you're a great player.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, there's, you know, I get to watch you and all, you know, you and I did a rock show together. We did like the all-encompassing show together. I've seen you do things between a Motown thing. I've even, you know, dabbled online, seen some jazz stuff. Yeah, I think just today I saw a young Josh.
He tickled.
I did.
Tickled the internet.
Yeah, man. So you are so talented. You're talented enough to be a jerk. And
yeah.
You choose not to be, and for your generation, like you could, you know, the way, whatever, I don't care where anyone's political opinions and ideas sit. Okay, I'm never going to do that on this show. I don't want this to be about that. I'll reference Barack Obama though, because whatever, if you don't think he did well as a president, if you don't think whatever, let's forget about that. I'm just talking about demeanor. You could kind of be your generation's Barack Obama, because in a generation, and again, people, this is not a political statement.
This is just a reference to episode 44 and President 44. That's all it is.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Whoa, that is so weird. This is episode 44, and yeah, your brain. But what he brought, and again, let's take politics out of it. Let's just talk about demeanor. Let's forget he was president. Let's just you know, for you guys who are haters out there, let's just talk about a man who happened to be on the camera a lot. And we saw him a lot and we heard him a lot.
He did wear a tan suit once, which was, you know,
oh, that's a problem.
Subjective.
We better tweet angrily about that. Yeah. He had a kind, calm demeanor. You know, everything he said, and I just heard a comedian reference, it's like it was all, you know, oh, that's not what they should be doing, and this is good for the country. You know, he had this way of being calm. You never heard him go off. You never heard him really attack anyone. You know, it was always a calm thing. And I think whether people politically knew what was going on or needed whatever he brought to the table in that realm, people needed a calming presence. You know, we don't necessarily have, you know, this other guy, again, I don't want to point fingers or anything, but he's angry at everyone, you know.
Right.
You know, everyone's wrong. You know, it's just, you know, but this guy, I don't know why I made it sound like that was, it sounded more like a Bernie, didn't it? Yeah, but anyway.
It was Larry David doing Bernie.
Yes. But that calm presence that Obama brought, it was calming and it was nice, it was kind. You have that. And between the ages of 25, 31, you know, when I meet somebody in that generation, and I don't mean to, you know, group anyone, but unfortunately there's been, I think there has been that participation trophy kind of mentality.
Sure.
And folks, it's not a physical trophy.
I did get a few
participation trophies. It's just when you're told how great you are at everything, can't lose. My brother Paul even said, hey, video games. He's like, do you remember the days when we would play like Nintendo back when we were younger and you only got 3 lives?
Yeah, you had to go back to the beginning.
Yep, and then maybe you'd have like 3 or 4 continues, but then it's over.
It's over.
Whereas today,
got to put in the work.
Today you can keep going until you win. Everything's fine. Oh, yeah. You died? It's all right. You're still alive. Like every part of the youth, it's a participate. You know, I do things as a band leader maybe food or something. If I'm in charge of like figuring out if the band can get food. I can figure that out a million times, a year. And the one time I don't, it's usually frowned upon. Like, hey, man. And I just try to say, well, it's all right. You and I were in Ohio, right? Yeah.
Oh, we sure were.
When you and I were in
Varsity
Ohio.
Inn. Shout out to Varsity Inn.
When you and I were in Ohio, folks, I didn't lead that show, and that was like a 16 It was a big band, but I wasn't leading it. Somebody else was, and that person was flogged, man. He had so many things going on. I happened to be in the hallway where the lady in charge of food was. I just happened to be in her presence, and I think they were going to give us these like little hors d'oeuvres before dinner, but I heard that we were getting a better dinner as a band, I ran into her, and I saw those little platters of cold burgers they were giving out or whatever it was. And I said, hey, by the way, when the buffet comes, is the band able to have some of that? She says, yes. I'm like, oh, cool. I have that information. I went to both green rooms, and I just told everyone, hey, I just found out, by the way. I didn't raise a flag. I didn't say, like, oh, man, a band leader's not doing. No, like, I was just, in that moment, I know that he has a lot on his plate. Yeah. I was able to help. It's okay. It's no big deal.
It's nice that you have that perspective of
where
a band
did we
leader.
lose that, though? Because I've seen things where, like, if somebody finds out the food thing for the band leader, like, oh, man. You know who they act like they just finished, like, their run on Dancing with the Stars. Like,
always out of breath.
Oh, it's not my job, but I looked into the food thing, and instead of, like, hey, man, you were kind of busy this one time out of 50. I handled it, It's like participation trophy. Whereas when I do it, it's like, yeah, who cares? It took 2 minutes out of my time.
I think like the one time they get the dinner and they don't have to think about it, it's ruined. Forever they're entitled to dinner.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Entitled, that's the word.
It is the word.
That's the big one.
It's exactly the word. With the daddies, we have a writer, and they usually fill it out.
Non-musical people. A writer is so cool, especially for famous people. When you're going on tour, you fill out a writer that tells people what you want, and what you have, what your food is. I did a gig with the Goo Goo Dolls, and my writer was very simple: certain kind of meals, some snacks. The Goo Goo Dolls had a masseuse, and they needed like a refrigerator with all this food. But anyway, go on.
Yeah, I mean, we usually get beer and snacks and stuff.
Yeah.
But if they don't fill out the writer, it's like start to get upset.
Sure.
It's like,
but I mean,
come on, guys.
But I mean, now that's
a little different
because you're on tour and you have these needs, and this is what we're asking for. To me, that's part of a contractual obligation. Whereas, if my buddy Phil is in charge of fluffing pillows.
He's the fluffer.
As a fluffer, and he's down the street because somebody bothered him about, the couch. I know, apparently I work in a hotel now. I don't know. But it's the first thing that came to my mind. And then I'm like, hey, well, you skipped one. I got it. You know what, Phil? You fluff all the other pillows. I just fluffed this one in room 111 for you. That's when do we get back to like just doing favors as humans? Because it's the nice thing to do, and we don't need a pat on the back for everything, and we don't need this teenage angst of, oh my God, I couldn't believe I did that. I don't have to do that. That's his job. Like,
right.
What? Where?
You know what my mom calls those? Golden nuggets. She used to call those golden nuggets.
Get out of here.
I'm not kidding. Yeah, you do something nice, but you don't tell anybody about it. She says that's just a golden nugget you just get to keep for yourself.
Oh my God, that is amazing.
Took that with me my whole life.
Did you think about that when you and I had a late night and ended up eating at the Golden Nugget restaurant? Did that cross your mind at all? Because our whole friendship seems to keep coming back in circles. No?
No, I did not.
Well, here's a big question for you. Going back to the whole demeanor thing, like you seem like you have such a kind demeanor and you're so unaffected by things. You and I were on a gig where the hotel rooms, we couldn't check in when we were supposed to, and there were like bad things happened, and you were so kind still about it.
Shout out to the Varsity Inn.
Would you stop that? Sorry. let's not mention any names. But it happened. Oh God. Anyway, you were cool about it, and just in general, my knowledge of you. Now, who knows? In 4 years, maybe you're going to jerk out on me. Don't do it.
I could. No.
But
No.
What is it that makes you the way you are? Because you're kind and appreciative, and you don't have this entitled vibe.
Somebody brought it up to me once. Somebody who just caught my vibe and talked to somebody else and said, he's just like really nice and happy to be here. And this other guy, he was just like, did he go through something a long time ago? The answer is, I had leukemia when I was little.
Whoa.
I almost died,
Oh, I did hear about. How old were you?
3.
Wow.
And I'm just happy to be here. That's all it is.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You took that, and that's what you transformed that experience
I'm
into.
just happy to be alive and be experiencing things.
Man, I really want to hug you right now. I'm not going to do that because it's not good for the podcast.
No, it's not good for the
theater of the
podcast.
mind.
Yeah.
Two very
Just imagine
two handsome men.
sweaty men
First, we're
with their
meeting,
shirts off,
coming
just
together on horseback and hugging on a beach.
and then we go to the same horse right off into the sunset.
It seems crowded.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? We'll take her. Then what do we do with the horse?
Well,
we just
and
abandon?
then the other horse is just like screwed and stranded.
Yeah, we got to take that horse.
And if it's a millennial horse, then it's really angry. And it's like, why didn't you take me with
right,
you?
doesn't have his phone, doesn't know how to get back to the hotel.
Oh, damn it.
I don't have my GPS.
So much for that horse. And it has a long beard because it's a hipster horse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A flannel shirt.
Well, that is the simplest answer to keeping your mindset, man.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just be somewhere and something really weird will happen. Somebody oblivious will like run into me, or I'll be treated poorly at some point. I'm just like, you know what? That was 1 second of my life and it's over.
Wow. Dude, you need to write a book. Seriously.
A self-help book.
Yeah, put it on your card, 1
How
second
to
of
not
life.
be a dick.
Yeah. Yeah. 1 second of life. Does this mean he's a bad lover? No. He's talking about. It's not 1 second of that. Which means
1 second of euphoria.
And you're. It's funny because you fall in line with something, and then we'll close this episode out. But I'd already talked to Josh about this at some point when we were first befriending one another. But I did this thing, and you've heard this already, Josh. But New Year's resolutions suck, and I talked about this. I think I never stick to them. I'm like, no pizza for this month. It does not work,
That's an impossible one.
Oh, the day
You're gonna
after
have
my
pizza.
resolution, I have a piece of pizza,
Yeah.
and then a day after that, I have an entire pizza. And then I try this resolution. The resolutions don't work. And 1 year, the first year that I felt like, oh man, this was a slower musical year than I'd seen. And I didn't feel like financially I was as on top of my game as I should have been. So I thought, okay, from now on, I'm going to change my idea. I'm going to have a New Year's mindset. And the mindset at that time was spend a little more money during the slow months, spend a little less when life is good. Somehow it's worked really well, and I have more money accumulated at the end following that. I don't know if that'll work for you people. Who knows?
It's a great mindset.
So it worked so well that I thought, okay, this year, new mindset. And the mindset was, and Josh knows this all too well, anybody that doesn't seem worth the time, I try to give of myself to people. And if it doesn't seem like it's working out well, if I feel more negative vibes or hatred or something, animosity, and it's something that obviously can't be worked out, I'm not cocky enough to say that I'm better than that person. Obviously, I'm not good for them either. I just stop putting in the extra time to hang with those people. Now, when you're in a work situation, a band situation, a life situation, sometimes if you're go, you end up with people and you really need some personal connection. Well, folks, you don't know, just because they're there doesn't mean they're the right ones, So sometimes I would say, well, I haven't hung out with anyone in 2 weeks. These folks are here, or this person's here. Let's do it. And maybe an hour of the hang, it could be really good, or it could be really terrible. So at some point, I told myself, all right, this year, I'm only finding the winners, the people who I think are just amazing, and that's who get all my time. two things happened, man. This is amazing. When I started doing that, first off, I freed up a lot of extra time. I actually did some more songwriting, did the film. I just did more creative things.
Sweet.
I didn't realize, like, wow, I'm saving time now because I'm trying to force this personal hang. The other thing that happened is ever since I've done that, the universe has given me the best hangs of my life. Oh, I'm gonna wait 3 weeks. No. This is a volatile. This is a dangerous personality. I should be around this person. And then all of a sudden, wait, what? The nicest person that I remember from my youth that I haven't seen in 10 years just popped out of nowhere for a hang. Oh, that's cool.
And you're not too tired to hang out with
Not too tired to hang out. And then it ends up being the just a treasured moment. And then all of a sudden, oh, okay, still not doing it. You know, keeping away from the toxic people in my life. Wait, what? Who's this Josh guy? I just meet this guy. It becomes, you know, a fast friend. You know, you're one of the nicest people I've met in years. So it's like by doing that and saving up time, the universe has given me gifts. So I don't know. I mean, if I could spread anything to people, you know, besides the common cold, I would say do that.
I'll take your cold.
Yeah. You're a glutton for punishment. You like a good
Sure
cold,
are.
do you?
Yeah, I'm a big,
You're a sneezer.
big sneezer.
You're not a tweeter, but you're a sneezer.
Right.
Well, I mean, I can't believe all your entire demeanor and the nice guy and everything that's in you is just from like a moment or a scare in your life.
It's like 3 years.
But that's crazy that like that sets you on this path.
Totally. I don't think I realized it until much later, though.
That's why the
Yeah.
appreciation, because that's so young. You were so young.
It's very young.
Yeah,
I still remember it, but you know.
you do.
Yeah.
What? I don't want to delve into.
I don't know.
this.
Well, we'll talk in private.
Sure.
Yes.
I'll keep the mics on, folks. It's okay. He won't know.
I can hear you.
Damn it! Got to work on
Yeah,
that.
you got to work on that. Maybe don't speak into the microphone next time.
You should write a book. You should just start speaking in public. You should just tell people.
Maybe I should.
I think you should. I think you're one of the nicest entities and the nicest people I have met in my life. And I think
It's very sweet, Rob.
I can't wait for like 4 years down the line for you just to change and become just a tainted jerk.
Just a big taint.
Just an angry guy. You have a website.
I do.
Tell
Yeah.
the people about your website.
It's called joshuahetwer.com.
Spell it for them.
JOSHUAHETTWER dot. That's a period, folks. COM. And there you can find my debut jazz album, which is called Part 1, Bricks.
Nice.
And then I have I think it's up on the website. I have a EP that I made, which is completely different. It's called Knobs, which is supposed to kind of emulate listening to the radio in the car. It's really weird.
Really?
Yeah, it's very strange.
What a concept.
Yeah.
Ah.
So, you know, if you're bored and you have 30 minutes to listen to a strange album, you should. You can find both those on my website and stream them for free.
Oh, that's fantastic. Look at you.
I know.
See, you're a giver.
Just giving it away.
You're a giver, man.
Totally.
Oh, well, I can't thank you enough, man. I mean, it's always a pleasure to hang out with you. It's a lot of times I'm having people I've never met before, but to have like an honest to goodness friend and somebody as great as you're for as nice as you are, you're like nicer than most humans on the planet and well thought out.
How do I compare to animals?
Ooh, that's a tricky one.
Yeah.
You know, I would say that you're friendlier than the average bear, but not quite as friendly as an African parrot.
Okay.
Yeah. Man, I really hope there are parrots in Africa, because if not, I'm going to get Googled and slammed. Angry emails.
Yeah, you're done for.
Oh, there it is. Nah.
Close the laptop.
I can't believe you did that. You've changed, Robbie.
You've changed.
Now you're referencing animals in the wrong continents.
Yeah.
And
Educate yourself.
I can't deal with you anymore. You're a pleasure, man. You've been a gift in my life, and now you've been a gift to a bunch of people who put their ears on this, and you know, especially with the sexy sax intro.
Oh boy.
Geez, I almost want you to just play us out.
Should I?
Is it? Yeah, why
Yeah,
not?
let's do it. Let's
play
do
it
it.
out.
It's here.
He's got a saxophone right here, folks. Josh Hetwer, look for the website. Look for everything he does. If you happen to be in Chicago, you just keep playing. You can just play us. If you happen to be in Chicago, oh yeah, if you happen to be in the Chicagoland area, you run into a talented dude who's just as nice as he is talented, then you've met Josh. Josh is a nice guy. Josh is a nice guy. Enjoy your week. Enjoy your month. Enjoy your day. Go out and find your smile. Bye-bye, everybody. Coolest intro and outro of the show, my friend. I love you, man.
It was a lot of fun.
Welcome to my life so far. You'd think by now I'd be a star. I may be long-winded, but hey, there's just so much I have to say. Maybe lick your lips when you're hungry. Maybe drop your head when you're sorry. Maybe shake a bit when you're worried. That's